Good morning, everyone. My name is Annie Fink, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for Wonderware California. Thank you for attending our Learn in 30 webinar today, focused on getting started with Dream Report Part 2. After the webinar this morning, we'll be doing a short Q&A. Please type any questions or comments into the Q&A box, the chat box, or you can email us at webinar@california.wonderware.com. Now I'd like to introduce your presenters for today's webinar, Daniele Riboni and Rob Marcoda. Daniele and Rob are both automation industry experts with Wonderware California. Good morning, Daniele and Rob.
Morning. Thank you, Annie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Danny. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Wonderware California. And our topic today is the part 2 for Dream Report. Today, we will connect to Historian and AVEVA Insight Cloud as a data source. And we will also create a few reports that are very useful for daily operation. In case you missed part 1 of this webinar, you can find it on our YouTube channel or on our website, california.wonderware.com. Let me show you where it is. Give it a second for the webpage to open. So directly on our homepage for california.wonderware.com, just click on Get Educated up at the top banner, then webinar. Scroll down to the recorded webinars, and you will find it down here at the Learning 30 Dream Report Part 1. By clicking on Watch Now, it will connect you directly to the YouTube channel. Since you are at it, in case you haven't done it yet, please subscribe for the YouTube channel so you can get notification on our new updates. Back to our website, scrolling up, and find our training classes, and we are in the process of converting all of our training classes to virtual instructor led, and you can find the introduction for Dream Report fundamentals on June 16th and the 17th. It is going to be virtual, just 2 days. Let us know if you would like to sign up. Before we get started, I would like to show you a couple of examples of Dream Report, of the reports that you can make with Dream Reports. And now, without further ado, I will pass the control to Rob.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Daniela, for that warm introduction. Thanks for joining us today to go over Dream Report. So currently, what I have is my desktop screen open, and what I have is a demo app that's running in InTouch, which has been set up beforehand to send data, events, and alarms to Historian. And so we have just the sample demo that's running with different windows that we're going to be creating the reports from. Additionally, Historian has been set up to send data to the AVEVA Cloud, which will allow anyone with account access to the historical data. And so you can see here that we're using the Historian, and that's data generated from or data connected to the demo app that I just showed you. So we have analog data and triangle data. Triangle 1 is what we're going to be using for a few reports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up Dream Report. I'm going to click on the icon, and I'm going to create a new project, dr_webinar_0515. And so the communication configuration wizard opens up. If it doesn't open up, you can go on the left-hand side and click on driver configuration. So when the driver configuration window opens up, you can click on the Wonderware folder and then click on historical values, and then click on the configure button. So what we're doing right now is we're going to be creating 2 drivers for Historian to generate our report. So we're going to be using triangle 1 to be simulating a flow meter that reads in gallons per hour. The readings from Historian will be real-time readings that change every second. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating 2 drivers. one driver will be a live flow meter and the other driver will be an integral to calculate the overall flow for a 1 minute time range. So the first one we're going to be doing is the delta retrieval. So we're going ahead and click on configure and then click on the test connection to confirm that the driver is connected. And then we're going to be using the delta retrieval mode and then go ahead and click OK. And we're going to name this driver historian_delta. And then go ahead and click add. So we're going to create our second driver. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go into historical drivers, click configure, and we're going to be using a integral retrieval mode. Now under the time, the milliseconds, we are going to be looking at over a time range of 60,000 milliseconds or 1 minute. And you're welcome to use any time range that you'd like to use. Click OK, and then we give it a name of historian_integral. And click add. All right, so now our two drivers have been created. What I'm going to go ahead and do is create a new report. I'm going to name the report report_main. And under report file format, I'm going to add the checkbox for open report file after generation, which will allow us to automatically create a PDF when we generate the report. Click apply and OK. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this other report. So I'm going to go on the right-hand side and create a step table that will allow us to view our real-time values for our simulated flow meter, as well as the integral values, which will create a overall calculated flow. And the advantage of using the historian retrieval is, for integral is that the historian will be doing all the heavy lifting and the calculation. So you really don't need to have a lot of heavy lifting calculations done inside of Dream-Report. So I'm here in the step table configuration, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 4 columns. And under defined time period, I'm going to use a fixed period for the last 90 minutes and a step period of 1 minute. And then under appearance, I'm going to, under column 1, I'm going to click on the browse icon and click on step start time. And that looks okay. And then for the next column, I'm going to use the, what I'm going to be looking for is the historian integral data to calculate the total flow. So I'm going to give the object name T1_integral. So we're going to be using the triangle 1 data source. So I'm clicking on the select data item for external history server, click the browse icon, and historian integral, public groups, analog tags, and I'm going to be looking for triangle 1. And then for the statistical function, I'm going to select on average. And click OK. And select OK. Great. For the next column, I'm going to be using the historian delta. So the object name is going to be T1_delta last. And the external history server, we're going to be clicking on a different driver. So I'm going to click on historian delta, analog tags, and triangle 1. And the statistical function, I'm going to be using last value. Okay, so I click OK. And then for the last column, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a expression function, basically an if-then statement that you can apply to the column 3 data to generate a word statement or any type of value or number indicator using scripting functions. So I'm going to give the object name T1_delta_expression, exp. And then I'm going to click on the browse icon on the bottom so that I can use a scripting editor to, with a bigger screen, so that I can generate a more fluid program. So I click on the script, and then on the bottom right-hand side, I click on the option, and I'm going to add this script function template. And so this generates the overall layout that you're going to need to create your function. And so inside of place your code here, I'm going to create a few spaces and then add an if statement. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be comparing a specific dynamic token to a value. So I create an if statement, and then I go back down to the bottom and select on a add dynamic token. And I'm going to be selecting on T1 delta last. So I'm going to add a greater sign. So if this value is greater than 40, and then I'm going to use the same token last. Okay, if the greater is greater than 40 and less than 80, then we're going to return a good value or any text that you'd like to. Else, return bad value. So it's just a very simple expression that just shows what you can do inside of the text editor for Dream Report, and you can create this as complicated or simple as you'd like to. So I click OK and click OK. And then what I can do is just kind of add a little better captions for the columns so we remember them when we run the report. So I'm going to create a time, T1 integral, T1 delta, and T1 delta script. Okay, so I click OK, kind of make it a little bit better. And then what I'm going to also be doing is in the first Dream Report webinar that we had a couple weeks ago, we created a page template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that page template so it gives the same format that we saw last time. So I right click on the report and I select on apply page template, and I'm going to click on the webinar template. Great, so now, pretty easy and quickly we kind of changed this from a very bland report with one table to a pretty aesthetically pleasing report with an image in the background, Wonderware logo on top, and on the left-hand side we have the report name and when it was generated. So I'm going to go on the left-hand side and click on Run Project, save it. And the runtime management console opens up. So I'm going to right-click on the report and click on Generate. And because we clicked on the PDF checkbox, we're going to automatically generate a PDF. Cool, so the report has been generated. On the left-hand side, we see the time. T1 integral is our overall flow for the minute, and then T1 delta is the live readings for that specific step. And then on the right-hand side, we have a script that compares if the value is greater than 40 and less than 80, it will produce a good or bad value. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this report. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an automatic statistical table. And the advantage of the statistical table is that you can basically create or use counters or recording time for how long a specific signal is on, off, or has a specific value. So we're going to be using a discrete signal from Historian. And we're going to be, to get that data, we're going to click on External History Server and click on Edit List. And we're going to be using Historian Delta and public groups. And we're going to click on Historian Tags. And we're going to click on syspulse. Now, syspulse is a discrete signal internal to the computer that basically cycles on and off. And we're going to look at we're going to use a fixed period of the last 90 minutes. Now, on the right-hand side is all the different options you can use. It's really a lot, and we're only going to select on a few. We're only going to be looking at when the value was on or running, how long it's been running, and then how long it's been in downtime. And then we're going to use that to create the system availability. Now, system availability is a term used in OEE. And if you're familiar with OEE, it's the overall equipment effectiveness. And that's the running time divided by the running time plus downtime. And so what you can do with that is you can use that value to determine how well your operation is running. Now with availability and OEE, you're going to want to use performance and quality to better get a better idea of how well your machines are running. So I'm going to click on system availability. And then appearance, I'm going to give it a name, machine availability. And then click OK. So I'm going to expand the column so it's a little bit better. I might even just move the table above the other table. So the reason I'm doing this is that if I put the statistical table below the step table, it would be on the next page. And so I kind of just want to have this view that's at the top. Now I'm going to run the project again. And I'm going to right click on the report again and click on generate. Cool, so we can see on the left-hand side, we had a running time of 1 hour, 25 minutes and a downtime of 4 minutes and 52 seconds. And that produced an availability of our discrete signal or a machine of 94.5%. And what we can do is we can actually look at the trend of that signal. And we can see that this is the green signal that's showing on and off. And so for the last 90 minutes, it's mostly been on with a few blips in the off counter. So this is a kind of a sanity check that yes, this is a correct, appropriate value calculation. Great. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an events table to this report that is generated from our InTouch application that will kind of show different events that have occurred over the last time range. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Wonderware folder again and click on Historian Alarm Events. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Configure, change the driver mode to Events, test the connection, confirm it's working. Yep, it's great. And we're going to give it a driver logical name of historian_events and add it. Okay. On the right-hand side, on the what we're going to be doing is adding an alarm and event filter. So I clicked on the top. There's a tool taskbar, alarm and event filter. And what I'm going to be doing is adding the events from the driver here. So under name, I'm going to give it events. And under source name, I'm going to click on the historian events. And I'm going to click on the plus sign. Now, on the right-hand side, I'm going to create this table for the events, and I'm going to get the data from external history server, and I'm going to click on Edit List, and that's the events that we just created. Now, if you wanted to add an event or look at a specific type of an event, you could click on the Alarm Filter Manager, and this is where you could add a specific priority, but we've already had it in here, so we're good. So under appearance, kind of like this statistical table, there's so many different columns you can add, but we're just going to click on a few. So I'm going to deselect all of the columns, and I'm just going to add start time, priority, and a comment. I'm going to move comment above priority. And then for the display table name, I'm going to use events table. Okay, so very simply, that's now that it's been created. So we're going to run the project again. And we're going to right click on the report and click on generate. Cool, and so this is now a events table that has different events that have occurred. We see PLC system started, production started, shipping, different events that have occurred over the last time range. Now you can also see on the left-hand side, machine availability has reduced. These values have updated live because we are using a fixed time range for the last 90 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this report. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to create a insight report that will look at our cloud insight offering and create a report off of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Wonderware AVEVA Insight driver, and this opens up our insight configuration for creating a Dream report. So we have server root, username, and password. Now the server root we're going to access by going onto online.wonderware.com and finding the URL for our insight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Chrome and type in online.wonderware.com. And this will open up Insight. And I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to click on the demo that I already have created, and we're already sending data from Historian. And I'm going to go to on the top right side and click on Administration, and then click on Integration Settings and REST API. And so under basic authentication, there is an endpoint that I'm going to copy to the clipboard and then paste that into the Insight driver. So I'm going to click on server root, paste it, and now I'm going to use my username and password, rob.markota, California, wonderware.com, and then enter in my password. And then I'm going to test the connection. Click OK. And then I'm going to give it a name. Okay, now under Web Elements, I'm going to add a custom content to this page. Drag and drop a rectangle. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for a specific page on our Insight application. So I'm going to go back into Insight and create a very quick, easy dashboard. So I'm going to go to the homepage of AVEVA Insight. And then under the search bar, I'm going to look for triangle 1, which we were using for our flow table for our delta and integral. So I'm going to type in triangle 1, click on the right arrow, and then click on the add tag. And so this opens up a very basic graph of our data that we're seeing from Historian. I'm going to look at the last hour, and then I'm going to click on the line chart. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 more tags. We're going to add triangle 2. Add tag. And then we're going to add triangle 3. And click on add tag. So very simple, very easy to create a simple chart in Insight of our data that's coming from Historian. And so what I'm going to do is go on the right-hand side and click on the icon and click on Save. I'm going to give it a content name. We're going to call it Triangle Graph. And we're going to give it a keyword. Now, the keyword is what we're going to use to find this dashboard when we combine different graphs. So I'm going to use RobDB and enable shareable link and click on Save. I'm going to change the graph format to be a status board. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on the bottom right icon, click on Save, and then click on Triangle or give the new name of triangle board. And click save. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the home page. And I'm going to type in the keywords that we had of RobDB, and that's going to open up the dashboard editor. So our triangle board and triangle graph both opened up. I'm going to click on the pencil icon to kind of show you that you can edit or change the sizes of the boards. Just a simple adjustment. And then I'm going to click on the enable shareable link and then click save. Finally, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to options, click on the share link, and then copy that link. And that's the link we're going to be pasting into our Dream Report. And click on insight underscore or create an object name with insight underscore object, and then paste that URL. All right, so pretty simple process to paste a dynamic report inside of a Dream Report. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to run that project. Save it. And so what we're going to be using is the web portal of Dream Report. Now, the first time we use the web portal, we're going to need to configure the IIS. Now, the IIS settings have been pre-configured for this computer. If you need the instructions, please give us a call or email us, and we can give those instructions to you. But you just click on the Configure IIS button. And then click on the Open Web Portal. And this will open up the web portal of Dream Report. I'm going to click on the web icon for the Insight report. And there now we have inside the Dream Report, we have our Insight data that is populating. Cool. So the last thing we're going to be doing is we're going to create a new report for a manual data entry. So I'm going to create a new report and name it report underscore manual entry. I'm going to go into report file format, click on the web icon, click apply, and click OK. I'm going to add a driver so that will allow us to input values into Dream Report, and that's going to be under the internal folder under web manual driver. I'm going to give it a name, man driver, and click on configure. And this is where you add all the different icons that you want or inputs that you want to add. Now you can also import or export this file. So if you create it in a different report or you want to create it in Excel, you can do that and import it into here. So I'm going to give it a name of name, so maybe a username. It's going to be a type text. I'm going to add that. Very simple. Next one is going to be a temp one, maybe temperature one. Type is going to be analog, and I'm going to click add. And then the final one is going to be temp two. I'm going to add it. Very simple. Click OK, and then we're going to click add. And click OK. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding 3 manual inputs to this report. So I'm going to go into the Web Elements tab and click on the manual input and drag and drop a rectangle. I'm going to give the object name of mi underscore name, and I'm going to click on the external history server and click on the driver, man driver, and click on main name. Note the defined time period has already been set as manual input, current time, because this is not a time range we can look back on. It's going to be live values or live time. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to resize the box, click on the box, and then hold the Control key. I'm just going to drag 2 more boxes down. This is just a quick and easy way to copy new objects. Now, instead of name 1 for the 2 boxes, I'm going to use temp 1 and temp 2. So I'm going to rename it mi underscore temp 1. Click on temp 1. Okay. And then click on mi temp 2. All right. So the next thing we need to do for this manual report is we need to add an action button that will allow us to submit these values to the report, and then also refresh the report live so that we can see our report, our values being sent to Dream Report. So I'm going to click on the action button and drag and drop or drag and create a rectangle inside the report. We're going to call this the submit button. And the select action, I'm going to be submit. Click OK. And then same thing, I'm going to press Control, click on the box, drag it down, create a new one, and this is going to be refresh. And the action is going to be refresh report. All right, good. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a item table that will refresh with the refresh button to show that the values that we entered for manual entry were in fact received. I'm going to create an item table. Click on external history server, edit list, use man driver, and we're going to select on name, add that, temp 1, add that, and temp 2. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the defined time period of fixed period for current 10 minutes. Now, it's important to use current 10 minutes and not last 10 minutes because the current 10 minutes or current time will look at right now. If I use last 10 minutes, it would need a 1 minute to send that data or retrieve or show that data. Click OK. And I'm going to resize it a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag all the icons and drag them down because I want to use that same report template that we used for the earlier in this webinar. I'm going to use the webinar template. Great, looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run that report. Click on yes. We've already configured the IIS. You don't need to do that again. So when the Runtime Management Console opens up, I just need to go to the Open Web Portal, and I'm going to click on the Manual Entry Report. And there we go. Those are our inputs ready to go. So I'm going to type in the name of John, and enter a value of 1 for temp 1 and 2 for temp 2. Submit that. You can see the option that the submission was a success. And then I'm going to go ahead and press the refresh button to refresh the table. Now, I'm not too happy with the size of the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the report, click on the appearance of this table, and then click on the font properties for columns, and then change it from 8 to 10. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to reload the project and just confirm that that table is a little bit better for my eyes so that I can see the values. So I'm going to go back to my Chrome and re-click on the web. And yeah, so now the values, now the table is a little bit better suited. And so I'm going to just enter in another round of inputs so we can confirm that it's working. So I'm going to use Jack, 5 and 10, submit. Submit data request passed successfully. Great. Click OK, and then refresh. So that's just that's working. And that's just a very simple demonstration of how you can create a manual report using Dream Report. You can have multiple inputs, and it's just important to use that submit and refresh button so that you can update your report dynamically. I'm going to go ahead and minimize. And all right, so that's a brief overview of what we did. Was we created a simulated flow table, and then we also we accessed our Insight, which historians connected to Insight, and then we also created a manual data entry table using the manual driver. Daniele, are you still there?
Yes, still here. Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much. It's Annie, do we have any questions for the Q&A?
Yes, we did have a few come in. Our first one is, can you apply cell background coloring within the script expression?
I can probably answer this question. Yes, you can change and adjust the color and the style of the font directly using the advanced out-of-the-box tools or Dream Report based on the result or the value in that specific field.
Okay, perfect. And then can I trigger a report gener generation directly from my HMI screen?
Yeah, you can assign a specific tag to a button, and Dream Report will create a report when that tag changes or has a specific value. Additionally, you can generate a report at a specific time, and we went over just where that option is inside of Dream Report Part 1.
Okay, perfect. And then can the manual data entry collected in a Dream Report web report be stored in Wonderware Historian?
Yeah, manual data can be collected and sent to the historian to be used as a data source.
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Daniele. And thank you to everyone who attended. If anyone would like to review any portion of this webinar, a recording will be available on YouTube and our website, california.wonderware.com, in the near future, and you'll be receiving a copy of it once it becomes available. Thank you again for attending and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.